Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. And today I'm here to play with some of Close to My Heart's cardstock. So I kind of alluded to it last week with a super fun little video that I posted that I was going to go and show you guys all this month some of the fun ways to play with the Close to My Heart cardstock. So I'm going to add my desk in here. I'm going to just grab the project that I created last week, and I'll show you what I'm going to create today, just in a different version. Okay, so let's add my desk in here. So this was the fun project that I created for Easter last week, and the property of the Close to My Heart cardstock that I was trying to highlight from this little cute project was the fact that our cardstock is two-tone. So there is a true side, so this is like the true side of the nectarine, and then the highlight of the carrot is the light side, right? And here you can see the light and the true side of the green apple that I used for the little carrot top here. So like I said last week, this was just a really fun, quick project that I wanted to make for Easter. And I thought it was a really good demonstration of the two-tone cardstock from Close to My Heart. So today we're going to play with a different feature of the cardstock, which is the white core. So I'll just talk to you about this card I created before. We're going to recreate the same card just with like a different color palette. But so this is one of the new products in the April to June idea book, and it is called Butterfly Slimline Embossing Folder and Stencil. Awesome. I've already done so many projects personally with this, and so I just thought I would have some fun today. So I'm going to just show you. We're going to use the carrot is very cute. I just have to say it was definitely a hit around my house. So like I said, we're going to play with the fact that Close to My Heart cardstock has the white core and how to play that up with texture. And so I thought this would be a good way to highlight and show that, while also talking about this new product. So just let me pull myself up here and make sure I am in all the spots I'm supposed to be, because sometimes if you don't give permission for Ecamm to see you, then I can't actually see who I'm talking to. Okay, I'm in the right spot. Awesome. This is good. Okay, so we're going to actually recreate this same card, like I said, just in a different color combination. And I wanted to kind of go dramatically different. So just let me zoom out my camera a little bit here. We seem to be very, very close to my desk. So we probably don't need to be quite that close. There we go. Now you can see everything. So I have grabbed some inks. I have grabbed, like I said, the embossing folder and stencil. I have another slimline card that we're going to create. So for my color palette, this is going to be a little bit wonky, but we're going to try it and see how it turns out. Thank you. I thought it was cute too. So I have melon cardstock and glacier cardstock. For inks, I have intense black. We're going to stamp our sentiment with that. We have lagoon and wisteria, and we're just going to see what happens. So I have a slimline card base here, and so I'm just going to fold it on the score line, just like so, that. Sorry, you guys. I will tell you that today here is like it finally is starting to feel like spring. So I have my window open, so you might hear the airplanes go overhead, but it is way worth having my window open, even if I have to listen to the airplanes today, because literally our winter was so long. Okay, There we go. Okay, so like I said, the fun thing about Close to My Heart cardstock, another fun property to play with, is the fact that it's white core, right? So no different than the carrot where I was talking about the two-tone. The cardstock does have two tones. It is sometimes hard to see depending on the color variation. So this is melon. So this is our true side of melon, and this is the light side of melon. So here in Glacier, it's a little bit closer together and harder to tell. So this is the true side and this is the light side. They're a little bit closer. Some of them are close together. Some of them are a little bit farther apart. But, so I'm going to distress the edges of the melon. This is going to be our back layer, and we're going to make our butterflies with the Glacier. I literally just have a nail file here. You can use sandpaper. You can do a different distressing with your scissors. So you can take the edge of your scissors and rough up the edges. That gives you a kind of different kind of distressing. Then literally I'm just taking the color off the cardstock. We're going to do it on the butterflies too, because when we run the butterflies through the embossing folder, it's going to pop them up and we're going to get a raised surface. And so I'm going to be able to take out some of the color from the cardstock that way and add just yet another texture to my card. So this would also make a really cute border down the side of a scrapbooking layout, or tucked behind a photo. You could do like a full length panel for your scrapbooking page. So I'm just holding it kind of tight and just rubbing it across the edge. And you could pull more or less color. I just kind of wanted that little distressed edge running around the outside. So my back layer is actually the exact same size as my card base. Okay, where's the last piece of mine? So I have the Close to My Heart die cutting machine, so we're going to emboss with it. So on the embossing folder, so you can see there's the butterflies. And I'm going to put my cardstock in here, and this is already cut to the size that I want. I just wanted that thin little border. And so just because you're playing with ink and stuff too, you don't have to make your butterflies or your bottom layer white. You can obviously have tons of fun doing that too, because there's other things you could do with that, but you can use colored cardstock. So for example, this is peach, and then I used papaya ink for my little coloring of my butterfly, and then I used charcoal. So I have my piece of Glacier inside my cardstock. I have it centered because you can see through it, so I can see how I want my butterflies to look. And now I'm going to run this through my embossing folder, my die cutting machine, my embossing folder. It is an embossing folder. Just one sec. I have to put it beside me because it can't actually be on the same table with me, or the whole camera would go shaking as we were embossing. So I was going to show you too here. So no different. You guys have seen me do my coloring sheet before too. This is really the same kind of concept. So when I first got this embossing folder, I ran a few sheets of just white daisy cardstock through so that I can play with it and see what it looks like and try out different things, cutting some up, looking for different sizes, seeing how they would work for different size cards. And then these are my extras. So I'm just going to keep them here inside my little bag so that when I want a butterfly or a full panel, it's just sitting there waiting for me, ready to use. Okay, So you can see the super pretty embossed butterflies already. So before I ink this up or do anything to this, I'm going to distress the edge of this, and I'm going to rough up the butterflies so that they have a little bit of texture to them too. So you can see here, just kind of on the edges, might not come up so well on camera, but I've just roughed up the cardstock in some spots to pull yet a little bit more texture out of it, along with the edges. So here we go. Still my handy dandy nail file. So I'm going to do my edges first. And like, that's the fun thing, right? Is that take advantage or play with the fact that the white core is in there. So last week, like I said, I did the little 3D project. This week I'm doing the slimline card. And so my plan for next week is I'm going to do a layout that features cardstock, and we'll talk about some different other things about them. So there's lots of fun, like just cardstock techniques. And then don't forget, as part of the card, and the reason that I'm actually highlighting the cardstock is because it's Cardstock Carnival, right? So you can get the cardstock at a savings. There is a huge bundle that you can purchase, and then there's also the embellishment packs that are created just for the special with the UV coating, and they're super cute and great to add to cards, scrapbooking pages, everything. Okay, so now because my surface is raised, I can pick some spots that I want to just get like a little distressing on my butterfly here. So, and you can do as much or as little as you want. And then we're going to put the stencil over top of it to color the butterflies. So you could like completely file off your butterfly if you want more, or you can just simply play up the fun edges around the butterfly. But this is fun because the cardstock is colored, right? So you also kind of get your base color for your butterfly before you even start. And so really you can see all the color over here. It's just basically like filing it off. And because it's got the lip from running it through the embossing folder, right, it's just a natural place to rough up the cardstock. So, like, even just that is pretty all on its own. So it kind of adds yet another even layer to the butterflies before we even start playing with the stencils. So Lori says, cool technique. Oh. Cool technique. Nice that there is now a slimline embossing folder. Absolutely. I loved that there was a slimline embossing folder, but don't think that you just have to use this on a slimline card. This little piece in here was the cutoff from, I used it on an A2 size card. So like a normal standard card, this is just the leftover piece, right, that I didn't use on the standard card. So don't forget, you could use it partially on a regular size card or a 5x7 card, all of the things, and you can cut them out. Like, it's so fun. There's so many things you could do with it. Okay, so then for the stencil, so we did the embossing, right? We've done our embossing folder. We filed it off. now we have two stencils. So you can use them in conjunction with each other. You could only use one and not use the other. So this one is more like the full butterflies, all of the pieces. And then this is a detailed for stenciling, like all the details onto the butterflies. So all of the big butterflies or bigger butterflies have some detailing that you can add. But the little tiny ones are just plain. Oh my goodness. 1 second. So much for having the window open. It was too noisy. Okay. So I'm going to now take the full butterfly stencil and we're going to ink up our butterfly. And so, like I said, I thought it would be fun to just kind of like throw a completely different color palette out there. So, Glacier on the bottom, we're going to ink our butterfly up with Lagoon first. So, I have my Lagoon ink, my stencil, and my piece of paper. I'm just going to line up my stencil. Here. I'm going to stand up too, so it's easier for me to see. There we go. So I know you are not going to be able to see this because it's clear. There we go. Okay, so let's push this up just a little bit. There we go. So it's better. I'm going to ink in the middle of my butterflies. I'm going to ink up the little butterflies. You could also use a different color if you wanted on all of the butterflies. I'm just going to make them I'm just going to follow this pattern exactly the same as I did before. But you could do all different colors on all the different butterflies. Just make sure that it doesn't move very much, right? So, but I'm going to do all my middles with Lagoon. And I'm going to be brave and just kind of hold it in place. Because if I have to, I can move it. Okay, so I'm going to use a blending brush because that's my favorite. I'm just going to tap off so I don't get like a ton of ink in one spot. And I'm going to start lighter because you can always add more, right? So I'm just kind of concentrating just on the middle. And I actually need a new Lagoon ink, I can see here, but we'll try and blend it out the best we can. And that white will obviously pick up the ink differently than the Glacier. So I'm not going to do a ton of inking on the little ones on this one. I just kind of want them almost just like a shadow in the background. So like I said, I am concentrating my ink more on the middle, getting lighter as I'm pushing out. I can lift it up and take a look and see how pretty that is. Just like, and that's all we've done is literally run it through our embossing machine and added a little bit of ink onto it, and it's so pretty already. So you can lift it up, and because this too has the embossing folder and we have definition on it, you can easily lay it back down in exactly the right spot that you want it. So how pretty is that? So I'm just going to set this aside. I'm literally going to wash it up right after this. Just let me grab my paper towel. I normally have just a paper towel sitting here, and then I will take this to my sink after and wash it. Okay, so we have our first layer on there. And then I'm going to do the detail with wisteria. So same thing, line it up. I have my ink. You can also like secure this down. So there is no detail on the tiniest butterflies. But it's kind of nice because it gives them a completely different look than the other ones. So there we go. So that's the wisteria now on top of the Lagoon ink. And I'm just going to, in a few spots, take a little bit of the wisteria and I'm just going to add it to my distressed edges, just very lightly. So you can see how completely different these two look from each other, but they really have started exactly the same way. So if I wanted to add some wisteria to the baby butterflies, I could do that by putting back down my stencil and just adding. I'm just gonna tap in just the tiniest little bit of color. So there we go. Now they have lots of layers on them. Okay, so let's move the inky stuff out of the way. So now I can just pick up my whole mat. That's all going to get washed. And let's put the card together. So I have my pieces. So I'll grab my adhesive. So like I said, so the combination is, this is melon. So, because I want to use the same melon sequins. So I've just picked a few things that make the cards the same and a few things that make the cards different. So I played with a different color combination, different inks, but it's the same embossing folder. And same technique, but I just used it in different ways on this card. So right, so this is nice and subtle, and this is much brighter and much brighter. Okay, so we need a sentiment. So I grabbed this one, and it says happy birthday friend, and it comes from this stinking cute set right here. So it's from the Strawberry Mice. This one has great sentiments on it, right? Thanks a bunch, thinking of you, happy birthday, miss you. So they're perfect for just like tucking in little spaces. So this is just like a 1/2 inch piece with the sentiment stamped on it, and it says hello friend. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add my sequins. So let's just even put this like at the exact same level. So I have my sequins. So these are melon sequins. And the nice thing in here is, right, it's got the like French vanilla color and the melon color. And there's like the shiny melon color. There's some matte. And I'm just going to use glue dots and add them to my butterflies. And this one, I'm not going to add the stickles to. So for that one, I used, or maybe we could, but I have to do it very last. So I used liquid pearls on this one. I used the coral, right? Because I like that with the melon. How about we use, I think I like silver better with those sequins. So we'll use silver instead of the platinum. But first I'm going to add a few sequins on here. And so I'm just going to take a variety of sizes. Oh, this one has two stuck together. There we go. So I'm just putting them on my glue dots first, and then I'll just pull them off as I need them. And actually, I might even just use the diamond stickles. So the one that has literally no color, it's just going to give it a shine. I'll decide after. Here. So I'm just going to add kind of just making them look like they're sprinkled along. I think I want a smaller one there. Here we go. There. I like that there's the variety, right? Like the different sizes. You could also glue these. Oh, you're very welcome, Lauren. You could also glue these down with glue if you want. You just have to be like patient and let it dry, like your sequins. So let's add one more. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of stickles to them. Okay, so that's it for my sequins. And then okay, this is icicles, but you could use any of them. So I'm just going to, on this one, I made them more like dots. Here I'm just going to kind of run it down the middle because it's the stickles is a different consistency than the liquid pearls. And the liquid pearls, you have more of an ability to be able to almost paint with them because they're acrylic based. So you can make some different things happen with that product versus a stickles. Thank you. So if you want, you can, there we go. So that is that. So see, it's like super quick and easy. And so, like I said, I just wanted to play up the fun, one of the other fun things about the Creative Memories, close to my heart, sorry, close to my heart cardstock, and that it's white core. And so play with that and have some fun. And like I said, you can use exactly the same technique on a scrapbooking layout or the same size card, all of those things. But take advantage and use that white core and have some fun with it. It's always fun to just play around and see what happens. That's exactly, like I said, that's exactly what this little pile is all about, right? I always start with just playing with the product and finding some fun things to do with it. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope you have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.